Welcome back, potentially after a long hiatus, to another episode of After the Split. For those that don't already know, this is a deep dive interview show going to the lives of speedrunners. You can find this on any place you listen to your other podcasts, or on YouTube if you like a nice face to go along with it. Now, I'm of the firm belief that speedrunning is an inclusive space for everyone and like to include runners of all levels, be that first time run or world record runners. But today, I'm joined by Crash Bandicoot extraordinaire and overall homie, Leaveittolexie. How are you doing, Lexie?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited right now. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. I was just waiting for you to get your first rundown, and I was like, then we can have an episode. That's all it takes.
Love
now,
that.
Putting it together, I actually wasn't sure what name I should put on the screen. So I guess what should we go with for today?
Leaveittolexie's fine. Just because, I mean, yeah, that's fine because that's my Twitch one. So
that's kind of why I was going with it. Now, I guess for context for the people back home, what else have you gone by, and can you give us the origin of them?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So, my other name that I use most often is Prostate Monk. And the reason I don't use it on Twitch, because I've tried, is because they block it.
They block your name.
Which I guess it's fair. But yeah, I'm Prostate Monk on SR.com. I'm Prostate Monk on Twitter. Not trying to plug myself right now, but I'm Prostate Monk pretty much like everywhere.
That's what it's about. That's why I asked too.
Yeah, I sniped that handle when like YouTube implemented like their custom handle crap, because I was like, I need it.
Yes, and I guess prostate. Give me.
And then I guess like the background, it's a Reddit article. If you literally Google Prostate Monk Reddit, like you'll find it. It's very NSFW. But it
up
is
there, one of the goats, just like the cum box is the Prostate Monk, of course.
Yes. So, but yeah, Leaveittolexie is G-rated for the fam. So
that's good. Yeah. I love that. You know what? Sometimes I wonder if I should be more like family friendly, but I'm like, well, you guys have like Prostate Monk. You got to jump into it.
Yeah, fair enough.
But then Leaveittolexie?
Oh, yeah. So I guess like my original Twitch name was Leaveittolexie, which is like a play on the really old United States show. I don't know what, like 60s maybe? Leave It to Beaver. Because my last name is Heaver. And so I was like, and then I don't know, I started like being more on Twitch, and that's when I changed it to Lexie, because I'm like, hey, everyone calls me Lexie anyway. So
yeah, who's gonna put their last name in their Twitch name? That would be weird, right?
I know, that's so weird. But yours works because it rhymes.
It does.
And no one really knows your first name, so it works.
Keep that a mystery, at least for now.
For now.
For the longest time, I couldn't decide on like a username, and I just heard it so much like as a kid growing up, like, oh, Gaffy, Laffy, Taffy, ha ha, and I was like, you know what? Actually, that's kind of good. So I made my first PS4 name when I was like 18 or something, and it just kind of stuck ever since.
Were you like one of those kids that people called by their last name?
Not a whole lot. I think well, you know my first name.
Yeah.
It's a little radical, so I think people liked it. It gives me character.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it's a good name. It definitely is. That's why I was curious, because if you had a plain name like Tom, I don't know.
Yeah, thank goodness I'm not like a Fred.
Yeah. God bless.
Now, I'm sure people are curious to know, like, so you're part of the Crash scene, and despite being a major person in Crash speedrun, you only recently just attempted and submitted your first speedrun. I kind of like to go through the steps of how that came to be and pick your brain on if that's okay with you.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want me to kick it off, or do you have anything?
Yeah, I'll start off. So you've been involved for years at this point and gone to more events than most runners I know. So how did you get into the larger scene of speedrunning as it is?
Yeah, my whole entire like speedrunning career. I don't even want to call it a career. I don't even know what to call it. It started in like 2015 because I used to hang out at like a local game shop where like people play Magic all the time, you know? Like,
are you a Magic head or?
I used to be, kind of. I wasn't very good, but I would play like for the fun. Like, if you always need like an even number, like to like keep the pool, like to have it make sense with like the, you know, like how they do like the You know what I mean? Anyway, so if they needed like a sixth
I
person or
think
something
so,
to like
like a
kick
tournament
off.
sort of thing, or
Yeah. What is that called? Standings. Like you want the
bracket.
standings bracket. Thank you. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh. Yeah. Okay. So I would be like the sixth person, even though I would like lose, whatever. Like I would just do it because I don't know. I liked the concept enough, but I
Tournaments
wasn't
run
like
off of Owen
hardcore.
tours, so I've never even like competed in Magic, but I appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah. Taking one for the team. Um. So anyway, I used to hang out at this local game shop, and this guy that owned it was a runner of one of the Mario Karts, 64, I think. And at first, the concept to me was very like, I was like, this is a racing game. Everybody goes as fast as they can. Like, what? Like, it was very weird. But then he and a few of my friends went to SGDQ 2015 because we live like 20 minutes away from the venue at the time, which was in St. Paul. And so I didn't have like a ticket or anything, but like one day my friend was like, well, I can't go. Do you just want to use my badge? Which is like, you're not supposed to do that. So I'm not advocating that people do that.
In 2015, I
Um,
think the statute of limitations have passed. You're good.
right, exactly, yeah. So I went, and it was really fun, it was very interesting, and then I kinda took, like, a hiatus for a good decent amount of time until I was streaming NST, Insane Trilogy, Crash Bandicoot, and, because Crash Bandicoot 3 was, like, one of my favorite video games as a child. I think it might have been my first, like, real video game. I mean, I had, like, computer games, but like there were like gambling games that I don't even think I should have been playing. But whatever. Anyway, so like I was playing Crash Bandicoot 3 NST on stream because I used to stream pretty decently. And then Merkaz came into my chat and he's like, I speedrun this. And I was like, wait, people speedrun more than just racing games? Like that concept was just very weird to me. And so I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then we just started talking, and then he was like, "I got into SGDQ," and I was like, "I know what that is. I've been to one. I didn't know." I
Hey,
was like, "I didn't know other people knew of this thing." So then I just kind of like was like, "Cool, like that's kind of cool that people like play this game." So then I don't know how it just kind of happened where I just started like popping into more streams, hanging out and chatting with the Crash homies, and then
pretty nice place. I tend to like them, so
yeah,
can
they're all right.
understand that.
Yeah, and then that was like sheesh, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago when Merc joined my stream.
Hmm.
And then recently, and this is kind of where I got into the whole like I want to try this. It's like hard to watch people play a game and like not want to do it for yourself because they make it look so freaking easy.
That's
And
kind
like
of what I had thought for you, because I mean, you saying it's been several years,
mhm.
but making it look so easy. What deterred you from doing it then?
Just like the time and like okay, like it seems to me that people that speedrun are really hard on themselves, which makes sense because I feel like you
That's an
always know that you
understatement.
can do
Yeah.
better. Yeah, and I didn't want to get myself into that mindset and like all of a sudden be really sad that I sucked at this video game that I loved so much. And then it turned out that kind of happened anyway because I'd play it casually and I'd be like, I've been playing this for like an hour and I'm only in like the second warp. Like, probably would have been done twice by now. Like, so then I finally said, screw it. I am going to time it, record it, do all of the things that you need to actually like submit and get it verified, which is like, add the FPS counter and all that crap. I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna submit it because it's time. So then I just did it and it took freaking forever, but whatever, I did it. So it's there, it's verified, I'm on a board.
Do you remember what like your final time was?
Like I think after, actually I have it up. 140. I think that's with
Let's
loads.
go.
Yeah, 135 without loads.
Well, still doing it. I always say taking the first step is the hardest part. So congratulations, of course.
Oh, I'm telling you,
Now,
I did cry. Okay, I cried.
did you stream it?
I didn't. I did it offline, which I kind of like. It was like kind of late. It was like 10:30 on a work night for me when I
Oh,
started
dang.
that run.
Okay.
And so I didn't really want to stream it. But now that I've done it, it's really hard not to go back and just do it again. Which is where this is like the pattern that I was afraid of
Hmm.
getting myself into, where I'm like, crap, I know I can do better. And then I'll probably like save a couple minutes and then I'll be like, oh, I can do better. And then I'm just gonna probably spiral if I get back into it.
I feel like you kind of know more than the average person that might just blindly pick something up, and that blindness might give you like an unwarranted confidence. Like I had, just picking up, like, well, all I gotta do is beat the game, easy. But I guess for you, were you nervous going into it?
Uh, a little bit, because like some of the skips I can do, right? So like the infamous under pressure skip, which is like the first big one and the first one in the entire run for a lot of like higher level runners, it wasn't for me. I know how to do it and I've done it before, but
Dang.
it's just like, yeah, it's just like remembering all of the movements and like which way you should go at certain times, and you have to like count it out, and I'm like, I don't know, at one point it just gets to be too much for me.
Yeah, yeah. So for
So
listener
it's like,
context, it's like a non-visual out of bound clip, and I've never even bothered to try to learn the thing, and I've run that game. I'm like, nah, that just seems not worth it, not fun.
so yeah, that's like the shitty part, is because I like know how to do it, but I like forget how to execute it. And if you screw it up, it's one of those skips where if you screw it up, you lose a lot of time, right? So that one I didn't attempt in my run, but then there was like a couple other ones that are similar to that one. Like there's like a deep trouble one where it's like the same concept, but it's like significantly easier and a lot shorter. I don't even think I attempted that one, but I wanted to. I don't know. So yeah, I was a little nervous. I was nervous because I want to do those things, but I like didn't want to waste my time if I lost time, which I think is also, like the crux of speedrunning, right? Is
Can
like,
also be a hard thing for even like seasoned runners, is like a lot of people want to just beat their head against some strat that you wind up, if you fail it enough, that you're going to lose more time than if you just don't mess with it. But everybody wants to do the cool thing, right? You got to do the trick. You got to do the thing.
right, gotta save the time, hence the speed run.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was a little nerve wracking. I'm not gonna lie.
Now, how'd you feel afterwards? Like you said, you cried? Is it a sense of accomplishment, or are you like, man, because like a true speedrunner, nobody likes their run, right?
Yeah, I cried in the sense of I felt defeated, I'm not gonna lie, but it was also really late at night, like I said, so I think that, like, came into play. I definitely game overed, like, a few times, which is why I know I have a ton of time save, and that, like, again, that whole mindset of, like, I know I can do better,
Wait, saying
right?
you have time save implies you're gonna run it back?
Oh my god, maybe.
Mm?
I really want to, just because I'm so dissatisfied with that time. Like, I'm pretty sure at one point I was told that if you can like just go through the game without dying, it's like under an hour. And I was like, what?
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
yeah, so I'm like, cool, all right. I'm gonna try that maybe. So
Everybody kind of builds up these cosmetic like achievements in their head. And I think sub hour in any of the Crash games is like the one. At least it
mhm.
was for me when I started. I see it a lot for a lot of other people. And then as you like this, the time you require to make sure that you get the sub one is like enough to push you. That's like, well, technically, I could get a sub 55, and then it gets to sub
Right.
50, and then you get sucked in, and then you wind up hating the game that you love so much, but you still love it, but you hate it, but you love it, but you hate it.
You hate
And it's a
it, but
good
you
fun
love
cycle.
it. Like, what,
Kept
I can't
me.
remember. What is world record right now? I think it's like 38
Yeah,
something?
yeah, something like that.
Something like that. So it's like in the upper 30s. So I'm
Now those
like
aren't people;
so
those are
far off.
robots. Like those times don't count.
No,
Like
no, they
45
don't
minutes
count.
is pretty good.
But just for reference, that's how badly, I don't want to say that's how bad I suck, but it's just that's how much I could potentially improve if I like put a lot of time and effort into it, which is kind of exciting because that would be cool, but
Hmm.
you know, who's got the
I
time?
I did hear it was almost just like a stepping stone for you, though. You went, and after doing your first run, you went and did a second run of the PlayStation 1 minigame Crash Bash. What was
Yes.
your
Oh,
thought
yeah.
on that game? Because I have very strong opinions about that game.
Okay, so that whole thing was kind of for the memes. I'm gonna be honest with you, like
Isn't it always?
Crody, I was just really sad because I was like, nobody will play Bash with me, and it's hard when you're on MU and like online with people because like if you're an X amount of distance from each other, you're gonna get a ton of lag, right? So, but anyway, me and Crody is in Poland, right? I was
Oh,
like, Crody, play
geez.
with me. Yeah, I know, right? I was like, Crody, please play because no one else will play with me. No one's crazy enough to do it because not everyone's favorite game for valid reasons. And he said, yeah, sure. And I'm going to be honest with you, like, I think once we get our run approved, it's like 70th place, which is
Oh,
like
snap.
not
Yeah.
that bad. And like considering that I have literally not touched that game since I was probably like 10 and the lag was like insane. I think we
I
did
couldn't
pretty well.
imagine doing any of those like the Hungry Hungry Hippos style games with the lag.
One.
Is just
That was the
abysmal.
worst one. Yeah, that one was definitely the worst one, and oddly enough, the worst one also for me was, like, the one where you have to, like, pick up the boxes and it's, like, fighting ring style, you
Oh
have to,
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, I don't know why, but, like, I would run to the box and, like, press the button to pick it up, but, like, the lag was so bad that I wouldn't register in my mind that I didn't pick it up, and then I would continue to walk away. Like, that just is really
That'd just be
difficult for
as in
me.
like, all right, whoever's hosting, you're in charge here. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much just an
basically.
AI. I'm an
I
NPC
was
in this scenario.
I was Crody carried me, if I'm being honest. I did clutch a couple times, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna credit where it's due. I did do a few kinda cool things, but otherwise it was pretty much Crody. But it was a lot of fun, I'm not gonna lie. I had a blast. But I mean, it was any percent. It wasn't all trophies and all of that garbage, so I'm sure that that's like a different scenario.
Listen, any percent can still take quite some time. NPCs
True.
are actually cheating the entire time.
Seriously, they are cracked. It's um yeah, it's a wild game. It's a wild game. I like it, but I understand why people don't.
Now a little bit more like want to gear this towards you as a person a little bit now that we know your runner background. What does a day in the life of Lexie look like? I can
Oh,
see a little bit like a cat stand behind you. Do you have pets?
yes, I do. I have a cat and I have a dog, and if she will behave, which she normally does, she's very. This is my dog.
Oh, snap. I was expecting the cat, not Luna.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
This is my puppy. This is Luna. She is a very needy dog, and very protective. So my day consists of making sure that she's not barking at someone using the hallway. How dare people in my apartment building use
The
the hallway?
audacity, truly.
Insanity, really. And work. Like I just pretty much only work, which is really lame. But
Part of living. Now,
yeah.
I've known you for a while now, and I honestly don't think I even really know what is work for you if you're comfortable answering.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. I had to like make sure she was good. What do I do? I don't even know what I do. I do know what I do. But so I work at Medtronic, and it's like a medical device company, and we make a lot of stuff. Mostly like surgical tools, so like it's not a lot of like patient interfacing because it's stuff that like physicians would use if you're having surgery. But pacemakers is a big one. I think that's like Medtronic's biggest medical device, probably like our highest revenue product would be our pacemakers, but I specifically work in diabetes, so I'm working on insulin pumps right now. So if you see people with like tubes that are diabetic tubes and like the little thing, the little black thing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, type 1 diabetics, I should say. Uh, that's what I'm working on, which is really fun. And
So
then
you
as far as
making
like
them, you engineering them? I like what's your field?
yeah, yeah. So I do actually. That is like my job is engineering that and
Oh.
managing the mechanical, electrical, anybody in R&D working on this insulin pump, I interface with and talk to every day. So I manage their timeline and uh I like help with like the details. I don't know, I fill in where I'm needed, which is like all over the place. Um all of the time. So it could be like mechanical people need me to do something or electrical people need me to do something. It just requires a lot of like it requires a little bit of knowledge in a lot of different areas. So it's like fun to me because it's like cool, I'm
Yeah,
making a
yeah.
difference. But it is very stressful sometimes. But at least I get paid.
So definitely I don't know how to properly even put this into words, but I feel like you see it a lot in the gaming sphere, I'll quote, and a lot of people are younger, not necessarily employed. This is kind of like, well, speedrunning in general is like it's just kind of a filler in life, I'll say. For a lot of people, like when you can really dedicate time to the hobby is like, oh, I'm going to college or something like that. So I love to see people that for lack of better words, have their shit together, like are doing something. Now, is this something that
Yeah.
you like your job? Is it a passion thing for you, or how'd you find yourself into this? Because it seems very obscure but obviously very needed at the same time.
Yeah, it is such a weird route of how I've gotten here. My degree is in like my degree is so weird. Well, anyway, I went to college, as people do, and
Got
I
pride,
was
like college pride, proud of where you went, or
oh yeah, the University of Minnesota. Whoop whoop.
woo woo.
Go
Do they have like
Gophers.
a catchfreeze or anything like that, or
Yeah,
a
it's like
slogan?
Skyuma. Yeah, Skyuma or row the
Skayuma,
boat.
Ayoma.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know what the origin of that is, so don't
Oh,
ask me because I don't
yeah.
know if anybody does. Or row the boat. I don't even know what the hell that means or where
Don't
that's
row the
relevant.
boat, baby. It's something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, so I was in college and like I really like physics. I think it's really cool that like anything natural basically has like an equation to it, and that's like insanely fascinating to me that you can like calculate freaking everything and anything. And so I was in physics until I think I got like halfway through quantum physics, which is like the fourth or fifth physics class you have to take, and I just like hated my life. Shit was so hard. Like I don't know how people do this.
That was not what
And
I was expecting at all, by the way.
it was so hard. Like I don't know how some people just have like the brain to like understand the concept, like relate it to some calculus equation somehow and do the math like by hand, and I'm over here like and it got to a point where you couldn't even like Google for help because Google would be like, "The fuck are you talking about? This is very specific and a very weird question." I'm like, "I don't know what I'm even asking."
Yeah.
Um, so I dumped physics and I was like, "All right, well, what do I like to do?" And to be honest with you, it was one of those like existential crisis moments where you're just like, "What do I like to do?
I
Who
had
even
that
am
this morning
I?"
in bed, so yeah, I feel that.
It happens, you know. And I was talking to my physics advisor, like that you have in college to help you plan your courses and crap like that. And he was like, "Well, what about physics do you like?" And I explained the whole equation shit. And he was like, "Okay, well, obviously you suck at that." He said it nicely. And I was like, "Yep, agreed." And I was like, "I also like to write lab reports like on, you know, on the physics itself. I like to explain like the weird concepts that it is like the complex concept and like relate it to people that may not be like as experienced, right? So they can understand it too because I think it's so freaking cool. I want everybody to know. Anyway, so he's like, "All right, well, we have this program called technical writing." I was like, "The hell?" And I was like, "Okay, here's the deal. I just spent the last like 3 years at this point in like solely like physics and calculus classes and should just like pivot into some writing crap." I was like, "Oh, Jesus, take the wheel." And he's like, "Oh no, like hear me out." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So I looked into the program, took a couple classes, and I was like, "Screw it. You know what? I'm gonna go for this and then figure out the whole like where am I gonna fit in career-wise later." And so I ended up getting this degree, getting a minor in physics because by the time I quit physics, I had gotten the minor, and gained another minor in biology. And I always
Dang.
kind of yeah, so then it was just kind of I was in college for 4.5 years, so that might help. But like I didn't cram it all in. Um, but, uh, Medtronic was a company that, like, I always knew of because it's a Minnesota-based company, and, like, so your options here if you wanna get into engineering are really, like, 3M, which I had already worked for at that point and was not a huge fan of, and then Medtronic, which is, like, medical device, a little bit more altruistic if you ask me just because 'cause I'm, like, I don't know, I care more about, like,
Maybe
the
a little
medicine.
bias. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely a little biased, but, we do need Scotch tape, so 3M is
True,
not that
true.
bad.
I was gonna say, I was
Um
thinking, like, I've heard of 3M. It's because I literally have some 3M tape on my counter. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, they make freaking everything, like a street sign, if you see street signs, it's probably 3M. Or if you see
Mm-hmm.
paint on the road, 3M.
I couldn't place it though.
Yeah, they're freaking every Post-it notes,
But
Scotch
dang, holy
tape.
cow! I'm learning. Oh, I feel dumb. Like you are so much smarter than me. I didn't realize.
No, no, trust me, I'm really not. So anyway, I applied to Medtronic as a technical writer and then just, like, ended up excelling at, like, my one role, moved into another one, and just kinda, like, made my way up. I've been there for, like, 5 years now, so it took a
I
while to
mean,
get to,
in
like, where I am now.
five years to be in like head homie in charge, like that's
I do have senior in my title, which was like
Senior as well, dang.
I got schwasty when I got that promotion. And ironically, it was during this last SGDQ, so SGDQ
Nice,
2021.
nice.
So I was like, everybody buy me a drink. Woo! Yeah, so that was a good time.
That's awesome, though. I mean, is that because I kind of saw it at least a little bit because people became supervisors still fairly young in my last job. Do you see that at all? Maybe perhaps disdain, I'll even say, being both younger and like, I don't know, because you're a very nice, soft, like, you can be kind of a softer person. Do you ever see any animosity or anything like that?
My God. Yeah, I do actually. I think Medtronic does a really good job of hiring like younger, like newer to their career people. What they don't do well in, at least at my division, is retaining that talent. So people are
Mm,
in and out and in and out. And like I've been in this specific role for 5 years, right? I never really like changed roles. And for example, there is like another person of my age, excuse me, with my role, but like a level down. And like she definitely tells me like all the time about how annoyed she is by that, even though she hasn't been in this specific role for very long. And there's weird like HR rules about how long you need to be in a role and crap like that. So that's kind of frustrating. And then you also get the people on the other end of the spectrum, right, that are older. And so like I feel like they read my emails and they just don't respond because they just don't care to like
yeah.
talk to me, which is kind of annoying. So then I have to get like this other guy I work with involved who's like older and has been in the role for longer and has like the rapport that I maybe don't have. So I have to get him involved and then people like start actually giving a shit. So it definitely like hinders the speed of which I can work sometimes, but other than that I'm just like fuck the
That's good. Pretty
haters.
much like as long as people aren't directly just saying like, "Oh,
She's
she's young,
stupid.
yeah, I'm not listening to her," sort of thing.
Oh my
Which is
god, no.
kind of what I've seen. I've a little bit maybe a cultural shift, just because like back in the day, you know, you worked for 20 years at Ford, and then you became the floor manager, then you became the plant manager, and it just doesn't really work like that anymore.
Yeah, and you go into the office, which is like newer now because of COVID,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, so there's like that weirdness where people are like, you don't really work unless you're in the office. And I'm like, my people
Well,
are in California. I can't work with
yeah,
them in
right.
person anyway. Like, I think I'm doing just fine. So, yeah. So there's definitely like there is some weirdness, but it's not awful, I guess.
Are you still enjoying it? Are you perhaps looking to pursue other things, other career fields?
That's a good question. I think eventually I want to pursue something different just because Uh, like, normally by now at 5 years, you would have launched, like, 2 or 3 products, and I've launched 1, and it has been since pulled from the market, so I don't
Oh,
really have a
really?
t yeah, not for anything bad, I will say that, it was just because of, like, shift in priority at the company, they just didn't wanna fund, like, the manufacturing for it anymore, and they didn't see value in, like, trying because it was launched outside the US, not in the US, so they, like,
Mm-hmm.
didn't see value in trying to get it launched here because of clinical trials and anyway. So I feel like I don't have a ton to show for everything that I've done for the past 5 years, so I'm just
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
So I'm hoping to launch my current product that we're working on, and then after that, have like a nice little reevaluation of what do I want to do? Do I want to like try something else? Do I want to like stick with this role but somewhere else? Like there's an option to move to California. I mean, it's expensive as hell, but it's an option, right? So I probably will wait until after it's launched and then reevaluate.
So definitely, I will say this is hitting a nerve almost too hard that like I feel like maybe I shouldn't even bring this up on a podcast. But this morning I for realized like, man, I'm glad I'm recording today because I've kind of been going through it lately. It's like the last few years I haven't really done any, or I guess almost my entire adult life. It's like I don't feel like I've had anything to really show too much. But almost telling these stories helps me feel like I'm doing something. So at least right now I'm like, okay, this is good. This is putting a band-aid over the bigger problems, but.
To be fair, and without like I don't wanna
We
like
all go through it.
expose like yeah, I don't wanna expose like your personal shit or anything like that, but like, you know, like definitely like I feel like everybody feels that even when they're like older. Like I feel like the people that I work with
Yeah,
that are
yeah.
like have kids and crap are like definitely still feeling that. And like I
Really?
think that
Isn't
all of
kids
yeah,
supposed to be like the
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 it
good safety answer? Like, Yep,
I
it's
made
their problem
kids.
now.
Yeah. My life is fulfilled. No, I just think that I don't know, people are really hard on themselves, you know? And I just don't it's really easy to like be like, what the hell have I done? But then I
When
take
in
like a
doubt,
step
blame Tom
back.
from MySpace. That's what I'm doing. I'm like, it's the social medias.
When in doubt, blame Andy Gavin for
Mm-hmm.
making Crash Bandicoot.
Actually, the Rolling
Culprit.
Stone of
Yeah.
existential problems is Andy Gavin.
Yeah, exactly. So, no.
But slightly more lighthearted than that, I suppose. Anyone that knows you knows that you're a giant Minnesota Vikings fan, of course. So I wonder, has that been challenging for you?
Yes. What a freaking question.
Not the real question, by
Yeah.
the way, but just the segue. But because so stereotypically, gamers aren't into sports quite as much. So a little bit of
Yeah.
a double question here. Are
Sure.
you into other sports, and how did you actually kind of get invested into them?
Yeah. So, I think okay, yeah, I'll answer the first one first. So yeah, I do follow well, not so much anymore, but I did follow the Minnesota Twins, our professional like Major League Baseball team for a long, long time until they started like making stupid decisions like as a team, like from like a managing like general manager standpoint. And I was like, all right, this is really hard to back these up. Like it's really hard to root for a team that you know is gonna do really bad. And I know that the Vikings
Rest your soul.
uh, God bless.
I just know every Sunday I'm looking on Twitter. I'm like, oh yeah, she's going through
Oh my
it.
god, it's just so painful. But the Vikings, I obviously like. I follow pretty hardcore. Justin Jefferson just won Offensive Player of the Year, well deserved, and
Deserved.
his catch against Buffalo was the moment of the year or whatever the hell they're calling it, which was also deserved in my mind. But yeah, how I got into it is like my parents, when I was growing up, worked opposite schedules. Like my dad worked during the day, and then my mom worked part time at night. And she worked at like a restaurant, and she would work every Sunday because it would be like Sunday brunch. So she would make mad bank because all of these rich people, it was like a country club. So all these rich people would come eat their brunch.
Ooh,
Yeah, so these people come eat their brunch. All she would have to do is clean plates or like clear plates from their table, and they'd just be like hunnits or whatever, right? Because whatever, rich golf people give them a few mimosas and they're just like, whatever.
nice,
Uh,
nice.
so my dad would be in control of, the house basically, watching us, like me and my sister. And football would always be on. And I will tell you that I hated it for like the
Oh
majority of my
dang.
life. I was like, this is so obnoxious. I don't understand what's going on. All I know is that my dad's yelling at the TV all the time. And then,
I love that though. The animated like like
yeah,
getting
yeah.
into it.
Or like his classic would be like, throw it away, like when the quarterback is hanging
Mm-hmm.
onto it for too long. And so I just got like annoyed with it because I'd be like, Dad, I'm just trying to do my freaking homework. Like I don't care about the stupid Minnesota Vikings. And then it took until about like 7 years ago, maybe, I started understanding the game more. And there's just something about the camaraderie, right? Like everybody is cheering for this team, even though you know it's probably not going to go your way because it's the freaking Minnesota Vikings, but you're still cheering anyway. You don't really know why, but it's because everybody else is. I don't know. It's just fun. It's fun to have something to look forward to on Sundays during the winter or Thursdays or Mondays or whenever they play. And it's like fun to talk about something that's not like I only talk about baseball like so much. I
Oh
don't know.
yeah, yeah.
Football is just more fun to me. And then
To
yeah.
to me at least, it's the fact that it is like it's a once a week thing because like
Yeah.
I enjoy, hockey and stuff like that, but it just doesn't quite hit the same when there are like 200 games a season, something like that. Like it has almost less impact and just the energy of it all. Like I grew up going to Falcons games, and when you're involved in it, I think going to a live game helps a lot, of course, too. But it's tradition. There's some nostalgia and uh, pain, lots of pain. You start
Lots
to
of
learn
pain.
the pain, and so when you finally have a good moment, it makes it all feel okay for just a
Oh,
little bit.
when you have something to cling on to. Like I'm clinging
Hmm.
on to Justin Jefferson. God bless. I love him. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just fun. It's just super fun. And then people definitely are like, this bitch is crazy, but whatever.
It's hard to explain to people that don't
Yeah,
necessarily understand it.
you have to get it, you know.
We So we definitely had an experience around New Year's. A lot of people came around this area to visit just for the holiday and whatever.
That's
And we
fun.
took non-football fans to a Buffalo Wild Wings. And just the amount of like questions being asked and like amount of like not focusing on what was going on just took it like so much out for me. I'm like, all right. Plus, they were just getting dumpstered on. Your team's getting
Oh
dumpstered
my
on.
god, yeah, it was the Vikings Packers, which made it even worse because
Mm-hmm.
everybody in Minnesota hates the Packers.
It's got to be
Like
like a neighboring state kind of thing, right?
it is because the University of Minnesota hates Wisconsin, like the University of
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin. So it's definitely like this weird state thing. But yeah, that game was rough. It was super rough, and I think it was in Green Bay. So I have my own thoughts on their field because they have real grass and it's outside in the middle of the freaking wind. I have a lot of thoughts, but it was not going very well. And explaining football to people that don't watch it or are European is really difficult. Especially when you're like, shut the fuck up, I need to watch this play. Because it's a big play.
It's third
It's
and
like
8. Shut up.
it's third and 8. It's 4-2 and they're fucking going for it. Like, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
it's hard.
Now we'll see. This is being recorded right before the Super Bowl. We'll see if this ages poorly or not. Are you taking the Eagles or the Chiefs?
The Chiefs. I hate the Eagles. You ask anybody in Minnesota like what their least favorite teams are, it will be Green Bay, Eagles, Saints every
Really?
time.
Wait, why the
Mhm.
Saints?
Because of the whole Bounty Gate thing, where when we had Brett
Oh,
Favre,
y'all holding them grudges. Dang.
fuck you! We should have gone to the Super Bowl, and they were like, no, fuck the rules and
Coach
fuck
would have put me in the
people's
fourth
teams.
corner, throw it over the mountains.
What a state! Yeah, much one better throw football over the mountains. It was a good movie.
Well, I mean, it doesn't help that the Eagles fans are like the worst fan base in the league too. So I'm like,
Yeah,
I'd go for the Chiefs. They seem like they're loud. Apparently, that's what I hear. Is like Kansas
yeah.
City's a loud place to go.
Yeah, Arrowhead Stadium is like the loudest in like the world or something
Mm-hmm.
crazy like that. Yeah. And I guess I have family like down that lives in like Missouri, so they're like Chiefs fans. So I guess the Chiefs it is, even though I'm indifferent about them winning or not.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, if it's just not the Eagles, that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Now, if you're placing a sports bet, who are you taking?
That's tough. I would probably just because of my own morals, I would have to say the
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs still. I think that the Eagles have a good chance to like win it. I don't think that they're a bad team by any means. And I think that they're a force to be reckoned with, but I just hate them so much.
I sometimes I let my mental decide my sports bets for me, which is not always a good thing, but I definitely put like a decent little bit on the Bengals winning the championship like 3 games before. So it would have paid off great and I almost had a chance at it. But
Oh,
yeah, so a little bit of me is mad at the Chiefs, but also,
yeah.
you might as well lose to the Super Bowl champs, you know. As a newly
Yeah.
bandwagon Bengals fan, I gotta.
True. I was definitely rooting for the Bengals in that game. I think it would have
Mm-hmm.
been better to have Joe Burrow and the Bengals at the Super Bowl, but alas, here we are.
All right. Well, you and I can make our sports podcast next time. We should bring it back for the speed run people and a little bit more about you, I suppose. I like to include my first day of class question. Do you have any other notable hobbies or secret skills outside of, well, this?
Oh, this is like so weird because I feel like you already know about them, but like I don't know if everybody knows about
Yeah, I
them.
guess, for the general we. It's not necessarily
For the
me. I'm
people.
just I'm a man of the people
Yeah.
after all.
Okay, so one, I paint. These don't count. The ones that you see behind me are not what I actually paint. I did paint those, but I paint like my other hobby would be painting, which is like more
I've
like
seen you got like
scenery.
Bob Ross stuff. Yeah.
I've
I
done
dug it, and doing the
super,
stream with it too. It was a cool thing.
super Bob Ross inspired. Love that guy. Um and What else do I do? Not a whole lot of anything, if I'm being honest. Paint, and then my secret talent, it's like not so secret, is just making goat noises, which got me popped off on Twitch. I was an affiliate for like within like 2 weeks because every follow got a goat noise, and I think people
Oh
just
my
followed so they could
god.
hear it.
All right. Do we get a podcast exclusive? Can we see if Discord
Yeah,
will let us do it today?
yeah. Okay, get ready.
Oh, drum roll, please.
Okay, ready? Oh, it didn't pick it up.
Oh, it kind of did. It kind of did. We
Did
got
it?
some. Yeah. It at least
Okay.
peaked in OBS, so that's good. You know,
Okay,
it probably
cool.
came through.
My
We'll try
mic
and get a
like
soundbite file later. Just paste it on there. Even better.
I have a clip
And then
of
I
it
can
on
keep
my
it as
Twitch.
a follow alert too.
I know, I was thinking about that. I have a lot of clips of me doing it, so if people get genuinely curious, there's actually good sounding ones on my
Nice,
Twitch.
nice. Stay plugging. Keep the people wanting more. For the
Not like I
channel that doesn't
stream one.
stream.
Yeah, woo! Go check me out. Aha. But yeah, I should really make that like a follow noise. It's just me making that ridiculous goat noise.
I guess kind of perfect segue, because this was the next question I had on, my paper here. Do you have any intentions to kind of come back to streaming at all, or?
I've been thinking about that a lot lately, actually. So I recently moved out by myself, and it's definitely been weird. I feel like I have a ton of time to do literally nothing, and at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I am broke as hell because
Hell
of it.
yeah.
So streaming is a way you can potentially get a revenue, which is not like what I'd be aiming for, but I mean like the potential's there, so I'd feel like less bad, if I was
Yeah, yeah.
streaming. And it's actually kind of fun because like the homies come to you and you can chat with the homies without, I don't know. I like that concept because I'm such a shy panda. I don't ever ask people to hang out. So I think I might. I think I've been thinking about like what I would want to do, like what I would want to stream. Probably maybe some like speedrun attempts. I don't know how I would set that up in OBS with like live split and everything, but I think that could be kind of fun, just like trying to beat my 1 hour 35 minute, or just like more Dark Souls, maybe, probably
Either way, no
wherever.
matter what you do, I think it's a good idea. As an impartial third party here.
Okay, well, since you said
But also,
it.
I'm sure and this goes to anybody who maybe is thinking, I kind of want to get into streaming and do my first run. There's lots of resources and people that would love to help, because I think people love to share this hobby. Not necessarily me, but it's mine. I don't want more competition on my board. Please stay away. But other people might like it.
How many people run Hollow Knight?
Too many.
Oh, is it
I'm
stacked?
so low down the list. It hurts.
Oh god.
But I also, it's one of those things, like I do it more as a casual thing for me, as a, almost like we were talking, like it's something good to stream now.
Yeah.
Like I think back when I was first getting into it the first year, I wanted to be the guy, but then I started to realize I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to put in the time ILing like sections, and I just kind of like to talk with the people. I like to joke around and play the game a little bit and improve on my own self, but not
Yeah.
versus the person that puts in 1,000 hours a week.
Right, right. I don't know, it's like just chatting with a game in the background is like my
Exactly.
favorite. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I feel like I should be doing that more, but even just going live sometimes is hard.
Oh yeah, totally feel that. Totally feel that.
Now, does your family, your coworkers and stuff, do they know you kind of have this online presence?
Um, kind of. Like some of my coworkers do because like whenever I go to Sweden for ESA, they're like, "Ooh, what's in Sweden? It's freaking February. Why are you going to Sweden in February?" And I'm like, "Well, first of all, I'm in Minnesota and they're in California, right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
it's a step up for me. Like it really
It's
is."
somehow warmer. Yes.
It is. Yeah. It was like last ESA winter, it was raining. And I was like, I haven't seen rain in like 6 months. It's just been
Oh my
like ice
God.
and snow. And like there was sun. And I
Imagine
was
wanting to see rain. That's crazy.
yeah, it was insane. It was so warm. I was like, I don't even need a jacket. Like this is insane. But
Hmm.
outside of it actually being a step up, Weather-wise, it like, I had to explain, like, the concept of I'm going to this, like, speedrunning charity marathon, and then they have a lot of questions from there, like, speedrunning
As one
charity
kind of does, yeah, I feel like.
marathon? 24/7? What?
All three of those words, like I know them in maybe individually.
Yeah. So then I have to, like, go and explain that, and then, they kinda understand, but yeah, and they know a lot of people know what Twitch is, like, I feel like Twitch, especially in the past few years, has kinda, like, popped off or been, like, at least more well known
Mm-hmm.
as far as, like, what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, I've heard of that ninja fella.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
ninja? Do you
Are
know
you
ninja?
you play that Fortnite? Um, yeah. So and then, like, it's weirdly enough, that gets people talking about their kids because 'cause they'll be like, "Oh, my kid plays that," and I'm like, "Yup, yup, me and your kid have that in common."
I'm your kid now by the transitive
Um,
property.
I'm like, "Yeah, at least I'm giving you something to talk about because people love talking about their kids, and sometimes when you're in those awkward meetings, you don't know what to talk about, just talk about their kid, and then you'll
Easy,
be fine.
free.
Free money." And then as far as my parents, they do. They do, and they think it's really cool, actually. And, like, I did a they knew I streamed a lot, and they knew that I played Dark Souls a lot, and it's really cute. My mom tries to, like during Christmas and stuff like that, she's gotten me, like, a couple Dark Souls things. Like, she got me,
Aw,
like, a Dark Souls 3 book, and it's, like, concept art, and she's like, "That's your game that you like to play, right?" And I was like, "Oh, God.
yeah.
Lord bless." Um, and they're really like they're weirdly like supportive and like when I explain to them why I'm going to Sweden, they have like their anxieties like that it's like the movie Taken and I'm gonna be abducted or something like that. Um, but outside of that, they're pretty supportive and they're always excited for me, which is super cute.
Does I guess does your family travel like you do? Because you're definitely a more seasoned traveler than a lot of people.
I am seasoned. I was $100 off from being a Delta Gold member, and I was so pissed.
Ooh,
I know
you can
our
just do
trip
it. A
to
quick trip to Atlanta or something.
I know, I tried to. It was during the New Year's Eve break. I
Ah,
upgraded my flight or my seat to first class to try to make the gap, and I still didn't wasn't quite enough.
maybe next
But
year.
maybe yeah, maybe I'll pull it out this year. They don't really like my parents. I don't know. They have too much anxiety about traveling like internationally, I think, which is unfortunate because like my mom is like so big on like museums and like culture and shit that I think she would like love it. But my dad, again, he's the Liam Neeson. He's like the one that's like, we're all gonna get abducted. And he's like, everybody hates Americans. We're gonna get spit on. Like, I don't, he's just his own beast. And so they just mostly stay domestic with like to Florida because they're old now. So they're like, let's go to Florida in the winter and crap like that. But otherwise, no, they don't really go anywhere.
Now, you make my job actually a little easy on me because I had this in later, but now's a good time as any. You definitely, whether it be for work or fun, you travel more than the average bear. So we all know that airports are a special circle of hell. Do you have like any particular pet peeve with traveling?
So many.
Where to
Um,
begin?
I think like my biggest pet peeve is like for international flights, for long international flights, my biggest pet peeve are the people that don't shut the hell up or have like are watching something on their iPad on full fucking brightness. Like, bitch,
Oh my
the
God,
cabin is black
yes.
for a reason. Like we have and
Hmm.
like the cabins have now installed like the orange light, you know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah,
really big
yeah.
right now. So like when they do turn the lights back on, it goes from like the dark to like an orange just so you don't like you know?
Get
Like
blinded and
it's
hate everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like those people drive me nuts because it's like hard for me to like sleep
Yeah, I'm the kind of
and
person that even in my own house, I have like my phone set to zero brightness with nightlight on and stuff like that. So people that have
same.
that at full blast, I'm like, how do you function?
Yeah, like I had one flight where I don't know what this person was watching, like I don't know, like fireworks or something. Their screen was just like
Fireworks?
I don't know, their screen was just like flashing. You know what I mean? It was on full brightness, but
Oh,
it was just like very
every color just
flashy.
going. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it would like pop in and out and be like really bright and then dim and then really bright. So I don't know if it was like an action movie or something, but it was just like insane. And like that's even like worse. Like pick a team at that point because that's just like nauseating to me almost. Like it just
Hmm.
hurts my eyes. And then as far as like domestic flights, it's just like people that are like, when you're getting off the plane, like there's an order, right? The
Mm-hmm.
people that are like
Oh, I know where this
behind
is going. I'm
you,
like, oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
these
the people that are
bastards.
behind you that are like, I'm next. No, you're not. Unless you have a layover that you really need to get to, like, please tell me and I will definitely let you through. But like, do not like bust in front. We all want to get off this damn plane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like, we're all in the same boat. And you picked the seat in the fucking back. Okay. Like, don't get mad at me because I'm just going in order.
I've always
Like
thought
that.
this is the dumbest tradition that drives me crazy every flight. And I almost feel like I'm the weird one for not doing this, but I know that I'm right. Is as soon as the plane lands, people are, well, one, already on your phone, stuff like that. But you pull up to the tarmac, you hear ding, and the seatbelt sign goes off. Everybody,
Click, 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 click.
I gotta stand up just to stand there for another 10 minutes. But like you're scrunched up now when you could just sit like you've been sitting for the last 4 hours anyway.
Yeah.
Like, just take the
Or
30 seconds, chill.
chill. Or like, it's so funny to me whenever you land and like everyone has their phone, like everyone turns their phone back on or turns it off of airplane mode, and it's like the same iPhone ding noise, just like all old people still have that noise, so the
Hmm.
whole airplane is just like a wave of ding 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 ding, and I'm like, okay,
Oh, I
silence
somewhat miss it
exists.
almost. I'm missing the experience, except I'm not. But I
Dang.
want to travel again. It's been too long
Yeah, you should.
for me, at
ESA.
least. Yep, I'm getting my passport soon, any day now.
Yeah,
I planned
okay.
on it in the past. I didn't realize it expired during COVID, and I'm like, well, shit, I should do something about that. But
Definitely go to at least one ESA in your life, is what I will
I
say.
definitely plan on it, especially, I mean, I don't know what the summer brings for me as far as work and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I'm fingers crossing, but I plan to get a haircut probably tomorrow, honestly. Go get my photo, be all sharp and smooth, and then actually send it in, wait for it to come back like 2 months later, and then be like, I'm broke and I don't go. But then I'll pretend that I want to go. And it's a
Oh
good
my god.
cycle that I put myself through.
You should actually try at some point. It'll be so worth it, trust me.
Now, you've gone to a lot of places. What's your favorite place you've gone to? If you have
Hmm.
one.
It's so difficult because when I go to LA for work, I stay at the Four Seasons, and I'm not gonna
Pretty
lie,
good experience, I bet.
that shit is heaven,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And, like, it's so funny when I go, like, at one point I was in, like, the elevator with, like, a bellhop guy, and he was, like, my age. He was like, "How's it going, ma'am?" In his Four Seasons, like,
Hello,
employee mode.
miss.
Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, it's good." And he's like, "How are you enjoying your stay?" I was like, "Yeah, it's always great. Work pays for this shit. I can't afford this." And then he just, like, broke character almost, because they're, like, so
You let him,
trained.
yeah, not be
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
pompous, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. So that's, like, kinda weird, but it's super funny. So I love
Mm-hmm.
it there, but then, like, as far as, like, the international places I've gone, I think my favorite place so far may have been Mexico. I went to Guadalajara for work, and I don't know, it
Ooh.
was so fun. Like, it was insanely pretty, and, like, everything was outside, like, restaurants were outside, and, like, the aura and, like, the vibe was very nice, and, like, I went out with, like, my coworkers that live in Mexico, right? So I got to, like, do weird, like, things that, like,
Yeah,
normal
not
tourists.
necessarily stay at
Yeah.
the resort sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, and, like, felt okay doing that because they know where to go and where to not go, and they know how to speak Spanish way better than I do, right? So, it was, like, super crazy fun. It was, like, the best one of the best trips I've ever had, I think. So, probably Mexico.
I would love to do that. There's still a part of me, like I've gone to a couple spots in Mexico now, and it, you always still have that little bit of fear, like maybe I don't
Yeah,
want to step too far off the beaten path, just since
yeah,
you hear the horror stories, which it could be just that. But,
yeah.
but for me, a lot of times, like I do like margaritas on the beach, so I don't need to go that far out of the city.
Yeah, Guadalajara is apparently the tequila capital of the world. I did not know that until I was
Ooh.
there. So, I was sipping on those margaritas. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hell yes." Even, that also helped, I love me a good margarita, so.
There was like one family reunion thing in Puerto Vallarta with like my dad's side, and I remember being
Mhm.
like 16 or 17, and my great aunt took me to like the mall thing that was fairly close by, and there was a tequila store, and yeah, it's like tequila taste. I've never really even had that much tequila at that point. And it's like noon, and I just show back up, and my dad's like, "Are you wasted right now?" I'm like, but they had so many flavors, and at that point, I was like, "Oh, you know what? I might be a
So
tequila
good.
person." Like when it's good, like a Jose
Yeah.
Cuervo, I'll die. But you get
Yeah.
like a Don Julio or something like that. Oh, oishi.
Like, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then my taste
Definitely.
buds have just gotten destroyed since then. So I'm like, "Ooh, some mezcals, something like just dry and awful that most people hate." I'm like, I'm in for that.
Yeah, I'm down, whatever.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what
Tequila.
tips might you have, by the way, for someone that maybe has never left their home country? Or do you recommend
Um,
traveling?
okay, so my theory, weirdly enough, is like you are never wasting money if you're traveling.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I know that it's expensive and not everyone can afford it, which is totally respectable, but like I even sometimes feel guilty for how much like the flights are. But at the end of the day, it's like an experience that I would take back, and I
Hmm.
always, like, learned something really interesting. Like, different countries operate so differently, and it's crazy interesting to me, and so I always learn something that's definitely, like, worth the price. And, like, I know it's really anxiety inducing, and it definitely is. Like, the first time I ever traveled internationally was by myself to go meet up with online friends. So, it was very scary because 'cause I've never met up with online friends before, and it's my first international flight. I was completely by myself, but it's really, like, not that bad. Like, there are, like, a few airports, like, do not fly into Paris unless you're going to Paris, do not have a layover in Paris, and do not ever have a layover in JFK. But other than that, like, it's really, like, you just have to take, like, a step back and be like, it's just like any other flight, really. You might have to fill out some paperwork, but honestly, just do your best. Like, 'cause just do your best. They're not gonna like come and hunt you down. Like, that's not what customs is there for. And like, I know that can be anxiety inducing too, but it's really not that bad. It
Yeah.
really isn't. That's like the only thing I can really say. And even if you do get like into like a spot where you feel like super stressed out, there's normally like a solution. Or like you can just talk to somebody at the airport, and 99% of the time, unless you're in Paris, they'll understand and help you.
What I've learned from people that do travel, because I've still like I've hit a lot of Asia, hit a lot of like North America. Well, I guess all of it have been Mexico, Canada. What else is there?
Yeah.
But uh, Paris is like, I don't want to say the worst, but the worst.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I maybe because everyone builds it up to be this like beautiful, oh, it's the romantic
Amazing
place to
thing.
go, but then like the airport's not a good experience. It's a little dirty. It's like very crowded.
Yeah. And like they're kind of rude. And
Yeah,
like, yeah, so I don't want to judge though. I want to say like everybody
yeah,
there is
right.
rude.
It's
It's just like the experiences that I've had, or other people I've known
vibes
have
are a
had.
very real thing, and so.
Yeah. Not trying to generalize, but yeah, it
Hmm.
just unless you're going there to like stay there, and even then I don't know how well that goes. I've never like gone to Paris and stayed there, and everybody that I know that has gone, I don't know if they really have stories or anything, but yeah, definitely avoid unless you're just going to stay.
As we're hitting about an hour, I definitely want to hit a few more just game related things for the people. Although, man, you're
Do
hitting
it.
everything. You're like, I want to make bad decisions. I want to travel again. I'm about to
Do
blow all
it.
my money.
Do
But
it.
uh, so a couple game related things. And me, maybe we got a little extra time. We'll jump back. But do you have like favorite games that you like to watch being run, or maybe just things that you like to play, like Dark Souls? I know you talked about Dark Souls. But anything else
Yeah.
really stand out to you?
Um, as far as like watching on stream, that one's hard because I just like the vibes of the stream more than anything. Like, so like
Yeah.
I'll pretty much watch anything. If your vibe is cool and your chat's cool, I'll watch. As far as play, I yeah. So yeah, Dark Souls is great. Love that game. Um, Minecraft. I really love Minecraft. I don't know, it's just my inner, like, creative kid that just likes to build shit. I don't know, and, like, I feel like I'm so good at the game even though it's just like, "Lexie, you killed a zombie," like, everybody does it all the time. Like,
You know what? I'll be honest. I played Minecraft like when it was newer, And
Mhm.
I tried to go back years later, and I was intimidated. I was like, "There's too much stuff. It's new. I just feel lost all the time. I don't know how to do this anymore."
Oh,
And so, like,
I
the fact that
know.
you're able to keep up with it, like, it is kind of a big deal. I think.
I love Minecraft. I also played it in, like, 2009, and then I didn't pick it.
Dang.
Yeah, and then I didn't pick it back up until,
Mhm.
like, a couple of years ago, and it was definitely super overwhelming. But once I got the hang of it, I was like, "This shit easy. I'm gonna go fight everything." Oh, I die still, but it's a super fun game. And then another game that I really like, but it's definitely better with somebody, definitely, like, easier and more fun to play with somebody, is a game called 7 Days to Die. I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
if
yeah, I
you.
know of
Yeah.
it. I know people put a lot of time into it, and for some reason, I never played it. It's even in my Steam library, and I still just never played it.
Really? You should play it. It is so fun. I think I have, like, 220 hours in the game. It's like survival Minecraft almost. Like, the concept, like, you have your bar on the bottom like Minecraft, but you like, there's zombies that are trying to kill you, they're faster at night, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I don't know, it's so fun, and it starts out it starts out really slow, but in a good way. So, like, you're gonna screw up a few times, but it's not too detrimental to, like, your character, so you're not gonna feel, like, super defeated. But then, like, you once you start getting better, you feel so freaking accomplished, and, like, I don't know, I'm addicted. I love that
I
game.
always
It's
dig that feel like you're like I'm trash to I'm a god, and then you're like, oh, actually, you know what? Maybe I'm not, and then you're like, no, I am a god.
just kidding, I'm totally fucking good at this game.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, it
wave just
definitely hits
feels
that
great.
vibe. Yeah, yeah, it's so fun. It's definitely a good casual game to play. And then, I'm not gonna lie, I've been into Bloons Tower Defense 6 lately, but, you
Really?
know.
Oh, there's like a weird crash NST to Bloons pipeline that I've just never understood. I've seen like everybody go to like it's tower defense game, man, with the funny monkeys.
I played it a long time ago, back when it was, like, a flash game on, like,
Yeah, that's exactly what I
online.
think of. Like I think I've played this on like
Yeah.
addictinggames.com or something.
Exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly where I played it for the first time, and now it's, like, on Steam, and it's, like, the same thing, just, like, a little bit more complex, like, there's more monkeys, there's more levels, blah, 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 but I don't know what it is, but that game is just so fucking addicting.
I was part of somebody's Discord, and they had like a Bloons channel, and the amount of like, well, you gotta use the tank to do it does +6 to, I'm like, there's theory crafting Bloons. I'm like, is it that serious of a game? I thought it was just like a casual thing, but no, apparently Bloons goes hard.
I did not know that, that's super funny because 'cause I'm definitely, like, one of those people that, like, I don't know, I was thinking about hitting up Crody, you know? Or
Yeah,
the person I did my bash run with, and because he plays a lot of it, and I'm like, "What am I doing wrong? Like, I feel like I'm doing everything right." And I'm sure he'll be like, "Idiot, like,
you
you
got
did
to
this
use
wrong."
the battle monkey.
Yeah, "You have to sell this and then you gotta pay for this." I don't know, like, I'm sure I'm doing something wrong, but I'll figure it out eventually, but in the meantime, it's still, like, hella fun.
Now, jumping into a little bit more of a serious topic here, and in the past, I've seen you say that gaming and speedrunning need more female representation. I'd kind of love to dive into it a little bit. Do you have any thoughts on what could be improved upon to promote kind of diversity and inclusivity?
Yeah, so I just wanna, like, give a little, like, couple of words on, like, why I feel that way. I know that the leaderboards aren't necessarily, like, female heavy, right? It's, like, very much a male-dominated hobby in my mind, and I think that statistics would show that. But that doesn't mean that everyone in the community is a dude, right? Or, like,
Right, right.
identifies as one, and I think that there are a lot of viewers that are in the community that don't even necessarily run that are, like, you know, not dudes, right? So I just think that when decisions are being made at a level that affects the whole community, I feel like there needs to be representation for, like, females, um, more than there is now. And I've talked a lot about this with a lot of people, and, like, I just think that there's obviously, like, a difference between, like, a leaderboard mod who does, like, verifies runs, right?
Right.
And, like, is like, "Alright, you didn't cheat, you did the run legitimately, I'm gonna allow it on the board." And then you have your community mods that are mostly there to make sure that, like, keep the peace, right? Like, classic moderation of, "Don't harass people, don't be a moron, don't be a dick," type of crap, right? Um and I feel like sometimes decisions are made that affect, like, you know, people and, like, as
Hmm.
far as, like, what they can say and do. And I think that there is definitely a chance for, at least in my mind, to just, like, add a couple of those add a couple female community mods, and, like, I don't know if they necessarily need to even speedrun. If they're a part of the community, they're a part of the community, right?
Which is
And
also something I've seen a little bit of contention with, but I firmly
really,
agree with. Yeah, just like the idea that, oh well, someone's not a runner, they shouldn't be making decisions or something like that.
that's so interesting. Yeah, I just think that a community is a community, like, regardless of what it's about. And then, like, at what point, like, I feel like the line between, like, gamer and speedrunner is already really blurry because everyone's fast is different. And just
Mm-hmm.
because, like, I just because I took the time to download Live Split and submit a run doesn't make me better or anything than a person that just doesn't want to do that, right? Or doesn't
Yeah,
have the time to necessarily do that. And as we even talked about earlier, like, people have jobs, right? So not everyone has the time to, like, devote to actually doing speed runs as much as they would want to, or they have family, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not a part of the community, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, so I just think that there needs to be some, like, in my mind, I think it would be better if, like, those community mods, like, at least, if there is, like, a situation that has come up involving, like, a female or something like that, where they would like more female input, like, reach out to people in the community, like, reach out to, like, some females and be like, how would you feel if we approached it this way? Because there are, I don't want to, like, go into details of the specific situations, but things do happen, right? And I just feel like that they could be handled better, and because it affects people. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that 5 people should be making decisions for the community. And, like, at the same time, interesting that you say, like, there's arguments against, like, you have to be a speedrunner if you want to be in the community or whatever. At the same time, how many people are mods that don't even really speedrun anymore? So then, like, you know, so, like,
Definitely seen
things
that as
evolve.
well.
Yeah, things evolve and things change, and I think that we just need to be accommodating to that. But yeah, so consulting with other females in the community when things pop up, I think would be great. And I'm just saying females in particular because that's what resonates with me, but it could definitely branch out to other things too. Um, and then like, or having like a community board or something. I think other communities actually do this. I don't remember which ones, but just like having like more people, not necessarily mods, but people that, like, could help influence decision making, or
Yeah,
maybe not
almost like
make
an
the
HR
decisions.
department sort of thing.
Kinda, yeah, right. Where it's just like a group of people that are like in the community that are like respected, and maybe not necessarily mods, but people that could come in and like help maneuver the situation or give some like outside input, depending on whatever the situation may be. I think that would be good too. I don't know. I've had a lot of discussions with a lot of people on
Yeah,
this,
so I
and I'm
kind of I
hoping,
like to hear
yeah,
your thoughts on it for sure.
yeah. Like, I've definitely talked to like Pete the player about it. On like the crash side, like when we were at ESA summer. And so like I have definitely like tried my best to like try to instill some change. Obviously it takes time, it takes time to like steer a ship and whatever. It's a lot of people and it's
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of things. Um, and everything, change is always kind of met with like some friction. So
Yeah, and
there's
somebody
that.
has to push that wheel though, so that's why I think little conversation
Yeah.
like this is important too.
I agree. So that's why I appreciate you asking, because I just think that it's just something at the bare minimum to like think about, because not everyone in the community is a dude or identifies as one, so
Mm-hmm.
it's worth considering other people, not just the same 5 people making the same decisions all the time. I
Now,
think it would be good.
my viewpoint's definitely a little skewed as the primary majority in this scene, but I like to think that I've seen that there are strides being made for inclusivity and stuff, and so that's good. But you also constantly hear about just these horror stories from people that are harassed and stuff like that. So I guess I'm asking, what do you think the vibe is in general right now? Is it a
Yeah.
welcoming place for people that may not necessarily be part of that majority
Ugh.
demographic?
I really I think so. I mean, that's a hard question for me to answer just because 'cause I've been here for so long that, like,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to think about, like, how I would feel if I were just joining, like, right now. I would like to think that things are definitely better than they were, like, a couple years ago. Like, I feel like I've definitely, like I said, I've had so many discussions with so many people that I feel like I've opened up a few minds, like, at least a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that if things do happen in the future, it's definitely, like, a safer, more comfortable space. I will keep pushing for that, and I have been saying that since like the dawn of time. So like if anybody come and feel uncomfortable about something, I would definitely be there to listen and help get the situation resolved. Not that I'm throwing myself out there for anything, but I know I'm not the only one that feels that way too. Like I know I'm not the only one that wants people to feel uncomfortable. So I think that there's enough good people around. It is a good space.
And a lot of this is probably like individual community dependent as well. Like I think
Yeah.
we think definitely of speedrun as like this big picture thing, but for most parts, like you kind of find your corner, as with anything in
Mhm.
life, right? So like
Yeah.
for example, Hollow Knight is extremely inclusive, but it's also so large that they have these almost governing sources. Like it's moderated very heavily, right? So
Yeah.
which
That
that
makes
has its
sense.
own beef with other. I'm not getting into that,
Right.
but
Pros
yeah,
and
pros and
cons,
cons.
right? Yeah, and I just want to clarify that I'm only speaking specifically about HD Crash, like NST.
hmm
I cannot vouch for OG, I cannot vouch for Spyro or anything else, or Sly or anything else, like,
hmm
or Hollow Knight, just specifically HG Crash. I can't talk. HD Crash, there we go.
But that is about all I have for our scripted segment stuff here, which, you know, we definitely jumped onto a few tangents, but I like them. I
Oh,
liked it.
yeah, whatever. You said the Minnesota Vikings, like, you know I'm just gonna go off.
Now, before we kind of get towards our end here, is there anything you wish I would have asked you?
No, I think you did a great job.
Oh,
Not to,
well,
like,
thank
boost
you.
your ego
I
here.
promise it's not
No.
goading to boost my ego. I genuinely like, oh, if there's this sort of thing, it's good too. But
Yeah.
if not, then we have this recurring segment that I definitely borrowed, but I asked my current guest to leave a question for the next guest. And your question is, if you just overnight you woke up with the magic ability to be the potty of a different game, what is it you're picking? Or of any game, I should say.
Ooh.
And for people that don't know who potty is, the goat,
The GOAT.
the best, like just
Really good Crash runner,
mm-hmm.
of a lot of Crash games. I would probably say Dark Souls. I would love
Ooh, runs or
I
like just
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
why not? Like, I am, like I watch Kata a lot. I think he's the current world record holder. I don't actually know. If he isn't, he was, and he's really good. I think it would be so fun to be him because, like but I don't know if that would ruin the game for me or not. I've already played it enough that I don't care anymore, but yeah, no, definitely Dark Souls.
I've always thought that too. Like learning a game kind of ruins like the mystery of it, any difficulty scale. It just but it presents its own difficulties, you know.
Right,
Now,
yeah.
which Dark Souls is the best Dark Souls? And this is 100% like fact, not an opinion,
Okay,
just to make people angry.
Dark Souls 1,
Oh, okay. Well, you heard
I
it
don't
here.
care. I don't care. Anybody if anyone wants to beef about it, I have this fight all the time. It is the best one. I would argue it's better than Elden Ring, but whatever.
Now, maybe the only one I finished, but I think it was a pretty good game.
Did you finish Dark Souls 1?
Yeah, I did everything, every
Oh, no,
boss.
yeah, that's right. Dark Souls 3 is the one that you just started. Yeah.
Yeah, getting there one day at a time.
You'll get there.
Actually, I think I'm playing today.
Are you really? Are you gonna
So
stream
yeah,
later?
low key plug. You know, check it out. Even though this is not coming out for like another 3
Oh,
weeks.
like and subscribe anyway.
Yeah, like and subscribe. But yeah, do you have a question for our next guest?
Yeah, this is a really freaking weird question. I couldn't think of a
It could
different
be
one.
anything. Yeah, it don't matter.
What is your favorite kind of pasta? So it can be like mac and cheese or like a tortellini or like a fettuccine,
Out of
spaghetti.
curiosity, what comes up for you?
I don't know. I am like super craving like some stuffed like cheesy tortellini shells. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh
Like the
yeah,
square
fuego.
ones. Yeah, I've been like craving that and some garlic bread. I've been craving that. Like I should just
Can't
go to
go wrong
Olive
with the
Garden.
garlic bread.
No.
I've got a dumb answer for this, but like, you know, it's got meaning to me. So when I was a like 17, 18 teenager, I was a line chef at this Italian restaurant. Definitely underpaid, definitely overworked. But my favorite thing to make was penne alla vodka because they had like a real gas stove and everything. So setting that shit on fire was so fun and it just tasted so banging. And nothing I can make at home with my electric stove even compares. So like I think I've built it up over in my brain for so long because I mean it's also been over 10 years since I lived at home. So that place, I don't even know if it's open anymore.
Oh, good. That sounds so good. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just go through these kicks where I'm like, oh, Italian, hell yeah.
I'm a big like carb person. Like, I just love Italian food.
Same. Yeah. So that's my question.
And a good one at that. And it has been a pleasure. So thank you for joining me today.
Thanks
Where
for
can
having
the
me.
people find you? Do you want them to find you? I don't know.
I don't even know.
With these future Dark Souls randomizer streams?
Hell yeah! So, yeah, my Twitch is Leaveittolexie. Feel free to follow me there. That's probably the only place worth following as far as, like, gaming-related crap. So, check me out.
If you want Vikings updates, go to Twitter/ProstateMonk.
If you want somebody to bitch about the NFL and the Vikings, you can find me on Twitter at ProstateMonk.
And this has been another episode After the Split. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. Leave it 5 stars on Spotify. Do your thing. Like it on YouTube. There's a new channel. It might be hard to find, so find my Twitter. You'll find it. It's all there somewhere. I don't know. Bye.